It is Monday, October 26. Welcome to CGN News. Forecasters say Tropical Storm Zeta, which formed near Cuba, became the earliest named 27th Atlantic storm recorded. Zeta is centered in the northwest Caribbean and is moving northwestward towards Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Maximum sustained winds have increased to 70 miles per hour as of early Monday morning. A hurricane warning is in effect for the Yucatan Peninsula, and hurricane conditions are expected Monday night into early Tuesday. A tropical storm warning has also been issued for Cuba. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Authority, AAIA, is currently probing a recent incident in the Bahamas. Reports are that an American Airlines plane with 28 people on board veered off the runway after landing on runway 6 in Freeport on Saturday. Officials said no one was killed or injured as flight AA4194, an Eagle flight operated by American's wholly owned Envoy subsidiary, landed from Miami. According to the CMC, there are reports of a collapsed gear. The statue of Lord Nelson, located in National Heroes Square, Bridgetown, will be removed on November 16, 2020, which is celebrated as the International Day of Tolerance. Minister with responsibility for culture, John King, said the decision is a step towards the healing of the nation and to remind us all that tolerance is a universal human right. The more than 200-year-old structure will be placed in storage before being returned to public display at the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. The statue's removal paves the way for the redevelopment of National Heroes Square as part of the renewal of historic Bridgetown, which forms part of the country's UNESCO-designated World Heritage Site. The Trinidad government Saturday hinted at a cautious reopening of borders as it announced a relaxation of several measures put in place to curb the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley said that a special team would examine the ways in which individuals would be allowed back into the country, given that the borders had been closed since March 23. Security Minister Stuart Young added that since the borders were closed, Trinidad and Tobago had granted 5,905 exemptions to nationals wanting to return home and 8,046 to individuals wishing to leave the island. They were speaking at the Ministry of Health news conference on the weekend. The former minister of a Connecticut church who was convicted of repeatedly raping a girl beginning when she was 6 has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. Orion Cole, 45, said he was innocent during the sentencing hearing Friday, the Connecticut Post reported. But Judge Eugene Calistro said Cole admitted to police that he sexually assaulted the victim, who is now in her 20s. Prosecutors said the assaults began when she was in kindergarten and continued into her teens. He was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree sexual assault in March. His public defender said Cole is a Jamaican citizen and likely would face deportation after prison. The Chinese embassy in Jamaica has responded to U.S. Ambassador Donald Tapia's caution about the acquisition of 5G technology. The embassy says the Americans' comment is filled with Cold War mentality and hegemonistic mindset. The officials say that Tapia's allegations expose the U.S. practice of interfering in other countries' policies and forcing small countries to choose sides. Tapia told the Jamaica Observer that Jamaica's financial sector would be hit hard if the government engages 5G technology from a Chinese source. He said the U.S. has national security concerns with 5G technology developed by Chinese companies such as Huawei and ZTE. Around 500 demonstrators took to the streets of London on Saturday in support of youth protests in Nigeria that have spiraled into widespread unrest. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari was the focus of the anger for his handling of anti-police brutality protests against the hated Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or SARS. Demonstrators, mostly part of Britain's large Nigerian diaspora, sang "Buhari is a dead man" as they protested at London landmarks, including Parliament Square and the BBC. Buhari scrapped the feared police unit and pledged reforms, But there are calls for sweeping change. Police shootings of unarmed demonstrators sparked international condemnation and unleashed chaos in Africa's biggest city of Lagos. The backlash over French President Emmanuel Macron's critique of Islam has intensified after Turkey's President Recep Erdogan questioned his counterpart's mental health. Erdogan said on Sunday that Macron had lost his mind, prompting France to recall the country's ambassador in Ankara. The French debate on Islam deepened after the beheading of a teacher who had shown cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad in a class on freedom of expression. Muslims believe that this is blasphemous. On Friday, the cartoons were projected onto government buildings in France. Earlier this month, Macron described Islam as a religion in crisis worldwide. Muslims in several countries are demanding a boycott of France, and social media has been awash with criticism of Macron. A senior aide to President Donald Trump has conceded that the U.S. is not going to control the pandemic. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said COVID-19 could only be defeated by mitigation areas like vaccines and therapeutics. His remarks come as coronavirus cases surge in the U.S. 9 days before the presidential election. Democratic presidential challenger Joe Biden said the White House was waving the white flag of defeat. He added that Meadows' comments showed that the Trump administration had given up on their basic duty to protect the American people. About 225,000 Americans have died since the pandemic began, the highest figure of any country. The U.S. has canceled plans to offer Santa Claus performers early access to a coronavirus vaccine in exchange for their help in promoting it publicly. Those who perform as Mrs. Claus and elves would also have been eligible for the jabs. The festive collaboration was part of a $250 million government campaign to garner celebrity endorsements of vaccinations once they are approved. But health authorities confirmed the advertising campaign had to be scrapped. Rick Irwin, chairman of the Fraternal Order of Real Bearded Santas, called the news extremely disappointing. That's it for CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thanks for watching.